Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We are so happy that you're returning. And if you're new here, hi, I am Ellie. Here on this channel, we capture all of my content pillars ranging from the different roles I hold in my life, from motherhood, being a wife, running a business, freelancing, content creation, being a woman on a journey. Encompasses it all, right? So we're going to be talking about self-love, beauty, all the things mixed and intertwined. So if that is your vibe, then go on ahead and like the video, subscribe, support the channel to keep us going. So I got a lot of feedback, comments, engagement from my previous video talking about Jamaican passport and applying here in the United States. Now, in today's video, we're going to be talking about the United States passport and applying for it on behalf of your child. So if that is something that is of interest to you, then definitely keep on watching. All right, y'all, importantly, a couple disclaimers that I need to speak on before we get into any tips and tricks. I have my tablet right here, so if you see me glancing, it's because I have my notes written down. I do not want to forget anything or steer you wrong. Disclaimer number 2, I will be sharing all the tips, all the process, and the resources, y'all, will be linked in the description box. And where I can, while editing, I will probably do a screen recording, put it up on the screen to show you where to click and all the things. Disclaimer number 3, this has a bit of intertwining of my own personal story and experience that I will be sharing with you, so that 1, you do not make the same mistakes that I have already made, and 2, it breaks down the process to make it makes it easier. When you hear someone else's story, you're like, I definitely won't be doing that. So let's go. First up, y'all, we need to confirm the right application type. It is important, y'all, for you to download the correct form, download the correct version of said form, and fill it out on behalf of your minor child. Minor child means your baby, your kiddo under the age of 16 years old. Importantly, y'all, the passport for your child is only going to be valid up until 5 years. So every 5 years, you're going to have to renew it. It's not the same as the adult passport that gives you 10 years. So always keep that in mind. The form that we're referring to, y'all, is the DS-11 form that can be found on the State Department's website. Now, the State Department is where you're going to find the form. What I love about the form, y'all, is that it is fillable online. So when you click on the form, it's basically going to ask you a couple of questions. What is your child's name, date of birth, address, email, telephone number, etc., etc., etc. And as you are filling out the questions, as you are answering the questions, the form is being populated for you. Now, how much easier than that can it get, people? You answer the questions and the form is filled out. At the end of the form is when you are able to download it. Then you need to print it. And importantly, y'all, print it on the single side only. No bother with the back and forth, front and back page. Don't do it, because they will not be accepting the form if it is printed on double side. All right, that's important. Also important about the form before we move on, do not sign it. You have to sign the form in the presence of the officer when they are reviewing your application. Do not sign the form beforehand. Importantly, y'all, one thing I want to mention in filling out the form, one thing I did, tip and trick now, I put travel dates when I was filling out the form. What do I mean by this? I had no immediate travel dates planned where I had an international trip of some sort. It was coming up recently. None of that. I am a first-time mom, and I holistically believe that my child should have all of their documentation prepared ahead of time. I am very much type A. Yeah, I can admit that. So I went ahead and put travel dates there, very recent or very close to the time that I was filling out the application, because guess what? I want them to hurry up and process it. Can I tell the truth? Yeah, I wanted them to say like, oh, they're probably trying to take a trip real soon. Let us go ahead and get their application being processed. Because the truth is, I did not want to pay the expedited processing fee, because again, it was not needed, because truthfully, I did not have a trip booked or planned. So that's one's the little way for finesse, the process. So definitely putting that out there as a little tip or trick recommendation. Now we're gonna move on to your child's citizenship. Proof of your child's citizenship. Now, y'all, this is so important because you already see the type of immigration climate that we are in. So I just want to encourage anyone that's watching the video right now that y'all please ensure that your documentation is in order. What am I talking about? The name is spelt correctly on the birth certificate. I'm going to be sharing a personal experience as it pertains to that. The dates are correct, gender is correct, hospital is correct, time of birth, date of birth is correct. You just want to make sure say everything properly onto the documents, especially your identification documents. And we're talking about your kiddo right now. Personal experience about the birth certificate and why it delayed my process. Because for us personally, we applied for baby MJ's passport when he was 2 months old. I would have done it earlier, not telling a lie, but this is where the delay came in. The administrator at the hospital made a mistake. Listen now, they made a mistake with the spelling of my name on our child's birth certificate. So if you know me in real life, I don't want to really put government name out on the internet. My first name is not spelled in the traditional way. And I have 2 middle names, one of which is not spelled in the traditional way of the name, how it is normally spelled. So I can see the human typographical error that could have occurred. But that is why I'm encouraging you all to properly check name spellings, etc. Because if the wrong name is on the birth certificate, what? You're going to tell me he's not in mother? Hello? Right. So once I noticed that, I had to quickly rectify that. And the process of doing that is filing an amendment with the Department of Vital Statistics. That goes for the state of Florida, y'all. I can only speak for where I live. So go ahead and look that up if you are in a different state in these United States, but you get the point. Once the name or date or anything needs to be changed, this is where you're going to have to file an amendment. Now, because your baby was just born, obviously, but in case it is not obvious, in case you're very new to the process, the birth certificate is the only identification document of your kiddo. The baby just born, him not have no ID, no driver's license. Obviously, you're gonna put a newborn behind the steering wheel, crazy. So the birth paper is the only ID, and that's why I am repeating it. Me a rinse it, tell you that you need to ensure that everything on their identification document, everything on their birth certificate is correct. Name spelled correctly, date of birth, time of birth, place of birth. You need to show that they were born in the United States. Spelling of the parent's mom's name, dad's name, etc. It's the only identification document that the baby has, that your minor child has. Now, after we gather the birth certificate also proves the relationship of baby to parents, child to parent relationship. You need that proof as well. The birth certificate encompasses the proof of citizenship and then the proof of the parental relationship to the child. Now, definitely want to mention here that the proof of the parental relationship, that can come in different forms, because I want to be mindful of my audience and whomever is watching me. I don't want to misinterpret or leave anybody out. Just letting you know that the State Department accepts adoption decree, custody order, divorce decree, or a court order to prove the relationship requirements to the child. So that's very important to call out right here. Now, I want to talk about the passport picture. Yeah, sharing another personal experience right here on the passport photo. I had to change the battery. My battery was about to die. Okay, let me just glance at my notes real quick. Okay, we were talking about the passport photo. Here is what I want to share with you. So remember, I stated earlier, baby MJ did his whole passport application process when he was only 2 months old. So the tip and trick that I'm sharing with mamas out there is this. What we did was I got a white blanket, right? And put it in the car seat, and then put baby MJ on top of the blanket in the car seat in order for them to take the photos. Y'all, we went down to our local Walgreens. You do not need a photo shoot for this. It's a passport photo. Be for real. We went to the Walgreens. They did the passport picture for us, and that is how we were able to set it up. Mamas, just please be mindful, because it's the baby. It's gonna take a couple of takes before you get it right. Just being honest. I tried to go when he was settled, like just after a feed. He's not too high energy, probably on the brink of falling asleep, but not quite yet. That little mid spot, sweet spot. And that is how we were able to position him properly and just get his picture taken. Importantly, right here about the pictures, it has to be taken within 6 months. You can't go there with an outdated picture, y'all. Yeah, within 6 months is the timestamp on that. You have to show a very clear face, no filters like what's one doing on the Snapchat and the Instagram. Cut it. Nah, we need it to be without the AI because some of the things that I see people trying to get away with on the internet, I'm just flabbergasted. Now, the State Department's photo guidance also requires the proper sizing and composition. I do not worry about the technicality of it because I know the Walgreens, the CVS, whichever location is authorized to take the passport photos, they know the dimensions, they know the specs, and they're gonna get it done. So I rest it in the hands of the professional. What I can say though with the passport photo is they are lenient for the babies. Don't ask me to explain that, but I just know it from my personal experience that when it comes on to the baby's passport photo, they're not as strict as the adults where like, oh, you need to have your ears showing and your hair can't be a certain way, da 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 da. So keep that in mind as well for the babies. Mamas with older kiddos, maybe not so much. Next up, we are going to talk about the photo ID for the parents. This is for mom and dad. You need to have your photo ID. Another disclaimer that I want to put out there because I'm also mindful of my audience, coming from the Jamaican passport the Jamaican passport video that I did a few months ago. I just want to put that out there that irrespective of your immigration status as the parent, you have to do the very best by your kid. So what that means is do not let that factor deter you from getting your child's documentation in order. I know you understand what I'm saying. I can't spell out every single thing on the internet, but I know you get it. Now, what that means is, let us say that the parent is undocumented, so they may not have a U.S. driver's license. Mom, dad, go to the appointment with your foreign passport. It is a proof of your identification. Do not let that scare you from not looking about your kids' documents. Will come about the children. Oh, my son. Oh, my son. Tell the truth. Tell me in the comments. Do not let that be a deterring factor from getting your kiddos' documentation situated. So if you do not have a U.S. driver's license, because that's the most popular form of ID, let's just be honest, let's be for real. If you don't have it, go with your foreign passport. They accept it. If you don't believe me, check out the State Department's website. I will never steer you wrong on this here internet. Let's keep going. You want to have the ID, and you need the ID to prove that you are the parent of your child. They're going to be checking for that. So that's why it's important to have it. So I will share the State Department's website on the primary and secondary ID just because, or just in case you do not meet the requirements, you have an idea of what is available as options and what is applicable to you. But hands down, y'all, you have to show up there with an ID. Now we're on to making the appointment. Because we are applying for your child, you have to do the appointment in person. Now, on the State Department's website, they do have a locator. So you can put in your zip code, you can enter in the radius from that, how many miles away you want to find the closest location, and you will be able to pick and choose from the list provided which location you would want to go to apply for the passport. For us personally, you can go to the post office, the library, etc. But we went to the library because they had the soonest date available for us. And as I have already admitted, I was just excited to ensure that my baby had all his documents. So I was not in the mood to wait. Yeah, I need the soonest appointment. If it is tomorrow, I'll go in there tomorrow. I'm showing up there. Yes, ma'am. So you are able to find that. You have to appear in person. You have to give consent for the application to be processed. And then what they refer to them as are the passport acceptance facility. That's the location that you're going to be looking up closest to you, entering your zip code to find out what establishment close by you accepts the passport application and will be processing it with the State Department for you to ensure that you get it. Now, here is the tricky part, because not everybody has a smooth sailing parental relationship. You have a divorce type situation. You may have a baby mama, baby daddy type situation. Not everybody has a married, cohesive partnership, spouse, household the way I do. So we have to be mindful of the audience. We have to be mindful of any singular person that may come across the video. And I really want to make sure that I can cater to the vast situations that exist out there. So if, like me, you are happily married, then both you and your partner would show up together with your child, of course, because your child has to be there in person. So both mom, dad, and baby need to show up at the acceptance facility to have the passport application processed. So both of you, everybody will, ride along in the car and get there. Now, let's say only one parent, is on the birth certificate, then only that one parent would show up. If there are two parents' name on the birth certificate and the other parent, let's say the dad, cannot show up, or if your dad, let's say mom, cannot show up, what you will need to do in this case is you need to bring form DS3053. Again, I'm going to do my best to link these resources in the description box. Once it is that a parent cannot appear, then the absent parent needs to sign that form and have it notarized. And you also need to get a photocopy of their ID. This is the absent parent now. And then have it with you for the application when you go to the acceptance facility. Now it says if you cannot locate the other parent, let's say the baby daddy ran away, he's missing, he can't be found, he is completely absent, you don't know what to do to track this man down, then you are going to have to get the form DS5525, and you're going to have to be prepared to answer any questions that the State Department may have if they are seeking additional evidence, etc., etc., etc. But if you are a single parent, if you are in a situation where your spouse, not your spouse, if you're in a situation where the other parent is absent and you want to do right by your baby, you want to get their documentation together, these are the two forms that you're going to have prepared and in place, depending on the nature of your situation, in order to get it done. But essentially, the State Department needs consent from both parents in order to process the passport application for the child. Now, let's talk about the fees, because it's not super killer expensive, but yeah, you have to pay the fees. Now, another personal experience, again, because I'm a first-time mama and I was frightened over my child, I did both the passport book and the passport card. Yes, I did. Does your baby need both? Absolutely not. But did I pay my money to get both? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Because my child is going to have everything that he is supposed to have. I'm not going to limit the things that he should have, because it's honestly not that big of a price difference, if we're going to be so for real. I also thought of the fact that the passport book is great for international travel, but the passport card also acts as a photo ID for my child. So remember earlier we were talking about the birth certificate being the only form of identification for your kiddo because he just entered the world. The passport card acts as a photo ID because obviously he's not going to have a driver's license, which would otherwise be another form of photo ID. So that was the thought process, the thinking along the decision that was made. But that's our personal experience. Let me share with you the fees and the cost of these things. Now, for the passport book, it's $100 for the application fee. That's going to be paid to the State Department, but the passport acceptance facility charges a $35 execution fee. Everybody got to get their little slice of the pie is what that is saying to me, but let's keep going. The passport card is $15 for the application fee and $35 for the execution fee for the facility. And then for both the passport book and card, it's going to be $115 application fee and then $35 for the execution fee at the facility. Now, if you want to get it expedited, you can pay another $60 on top of the fees that I just stated for each option that you're interested in. And you can also pay a $22.05 for a 1 to 3 day delivery of the completed passport book once you are located in the United States. So full transparency, I paid for the passport book and card. I didn't pay the expedited fee, but I did pay that $22 fee for the 1 to 3 day delivery. Because as I said, I wanted to get it quickly. Yeah, I didn't want it sitting waiting. Nada. Now for the processing times, y'all, routine processing was 4 to 6 weeks. And I must again emphasize that the processing time starts after the State Department has received the complete application. So after you go into the acceptance facility, you speak with the officer there, they take your form, they check the documents, they ask for your verbal consent. Then they process it and package it and then send it off to the State Department. That usually happens maybe within a day or two after you have dropped everything off. So the processing time starts when the State Department receives your documents. Definitely want to highlight that. So repeating right now, the processing times, regular, routine, that's 4 to 6 weeks, but expedited is 2 to 3 weeks. So let's say you don't have a fake trip the way I did. You really have a trip coming up for real, for real, for real. You can go ahead and do the expedited service and have it come earlier and on time ahead of your trip coming up. Now, definitely want to mention here that if you have international travel, the State Department says that you need 14 calendar days for urgent travel appointments. So they want to make sure that you give enough buffer time for them to process the application. Now, let's go to tracking it. You want to track the application. One thing I must say was that I appreciated that when the process was being carried out, I received emails on each step. So when the State Department received our application, they sent an email. Then they sent an email that they're processing it, they're working on it. Then they sent an email with the tracking details. So you're going to have your tracking link sent to your email. So I must commend them on that because I appreciate keeping me informed. I spent money for the service, and this is your passport. It is your official document. You need to keep tabs on it for real. So they are going to send you your tracking details for the passport. Also want to mention that you can check it yourself online. So you can check the passport status online. Like they'll give you the application tracking number. So you can go on the State Department, enter that number in, and the status will actually come up for you. So in 2 ways, you can check it on the State Department's website, and you will also receive emails with the tracking details as well. So you have those 2 options available to you. Now, generally, if the State Department needs more information from you, then you have a 90-day window to respond to their inquiry or request for additional details. Now, for the document checklist, I'm going to have that up on the screen. It's also going to be in the description box below, but I just want to reiterate all that I have said earlier. You're going to need to bring the DS-11 form unsigned. You need to have your child's birth certificate. You need to have a passport photo for the child. You need both parents' photo ID, proof of that parental relationship again, which would be on the birth certificate. If, for example, mama, you are married and you changed your name, whether through marriage or for any other reason you had your name changed, you're going to need proof of the name change via the marriage certificate or the court order, depending on which situation that you would fall in. And then, as mentioned earlier, if one parent cannot appear, you're going to need the DS-3053 form. And if the parent cannot be located, then you're going to need the DS-5525 form. So, y'all, I know this was a mouthful. I know it was a lot to take in, but we have to ensure that we have all of the things, all of the tools, all of the resources needed for us to ensure that our child can integrate well into society by having the proper identification documents. Ladies and gentlemen, once you are hearing me through this video, please do not wait on the very last second. No, wait till you have a trip coming up to just now be looking about the passport. You have so many months sitting there. Go ahead and get it done. Go ahead and apply for it because you don't want to encounter any unforeseen delays and other circumstances that might hinder you actually going on the trip. You never know what life may throw at you, and you just need to be able to move, but now you're stuck because you don't have the documents to move. And I'm speaking for the child now. Go ahead and apply. I hope this breakdown helps somebody out there. I hope this breakdown encourages someone out there, encourages a parent to go ahead and make the right move, go ahead and do the application process for their kiddo. It's actually quite seamless. It's really easy. It doesn't take very long to get it done. So go ahead and work on it. And I thank you for watching all the way to the very end. If this helps you in any way, go ahead, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave me a comment so we can keep going and getting more videos out there. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope this helps. I'll see you in my next one. Bye for now, y'all.